Hello there, you're now with me, Handy Gui, and this is TVS News at 5. Let's dive into today's topics. A landslide that happened at Jalan Kota Sentosa Bau has taken the life of a Chinese senior citizen. The victim's van reportedly fell into the ravine and caused the victim to be stuck in the vehicle.
After receiving the report at 12:39 past midnight, a team from the Batu Lintang BBP Fire and Rescue Station was dispatched to the location of the incident. Unstable earth condition made it harder for the team to rescue the victim.
Kita mengambil masa lebih kurang 1 jam juga untuk mengeluarkan mangsa di mana keadaan tanah yang masih lagi runtuh merisikokan anggota menyelamat. Dan alhamdulillah apabila anggota kita berjaya rapat kepada kenderaan mangsa dan berjaya mengeluarkan mangsa dengan menggunakan peralatan khas untuk memotong bahagian pintu bagi mengeluarkan mangsa.
Meanwhile, Kota Sentosa Police Chief ASP Muhammad Roslan Mat Saleh advised road users to use other alternative roads as the road was still unsafe to use.
Kalau jalan ditutup, nasihat untuk buat lencongan lah. Kita akan buat lencongan. Kita akan maklum pada pihak PBT lah untuk buat lencongan daripada supaya jalan ini ditutup terus lah. Masih bahayalah pada kenderaan yang lalu lalang sini.
Batu Kitang State Assemblyman, who is also the chairman of Palawan Municipal Council, Lo Ke Chiang, requested for an immediate investigation into the cause of the landslide. He suspected that the landslide was caused by main pipelines in the area.
Ini mau JKR sama waterboard barangkali jebab lah mau datang siasat ini barang. Ya apa sebab dia runtuh? Saya rasa ini memang ada isu dengan pipeline lah, water main.
The body of the victim was handed over to the police for further action.
Meanwhile, it is still not encouraged to dine in or have your meal in the restaurant unless it is really necessary. This was the advice of the Assistant Minister in the Chief Minister's Department for Islamic Affairs and DBKU, Dr. Abdul Rahman Junaidi. He said this following the existence of the Delta variant in Sarawak, which is spreading and causing more aggressive infections.
Pada masa yang sama, masyarakat perlu ambil perhatian seandainya tidak perlu untuk dine-in, tidak perlu untuk keluar makan. Jadi kita minta mereka tangguhkan dulu sehinggalah keadaannya lebih reda dan kita dapat mengurangkan kes ini dengan sebaik mungkin.
This has caused concern for many, even though the number of cases in Sarawak has been decreasing. He explained that all parties should take precautions because the effect of the Delta variant were more serious than other variants. Previously, the Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee and the Ministry of Housing and Local Government decided to allow customers to dine in eateries beginning on July 16. The decision was made after they had updated the Standard Operating Procedures (SOP) for the second phase of the movement control in the National Recovery Plan (PPN) for the necessary services in the retail economic sector.
Now, the process of scheduling COVID-19 vaccination for the first groups of taxi drivers, e-hailing and P-hailing riders involving over 50,000 people in that service sector has started. This was announced by the Minister of Transport, Dr. Wee Ka Siong.
We added that the ministry had received a list of names from the operators and service companies last June, and the first group involves around 41,488 taxi drivers and e-hailing drivers, as well as 11,527 P-hailing riders. According to him, an additional number of 57,931 P-hailing riders has also been submitted for the consideration of the COVID-19 Immunization Task Force (CITF). Given the current COVID-19 pandemic situation, we said the ministry was targeting over 300,000 public transport drivers, including in the P-hailing sector in Klang Valley, to receive COVID-19 vaccine injections as soon as possible.
A lorry driver remained unscathed after his tanker carrying 33.39 tons of natrium hydroxide turned turtle near kilometer 23 Jalan Skrang Betong around 9 a.m. this morning. The driver suffered only light injuries and has undergone a decontamination procedure at one of the Bombas fire trucks. According to the Fire and Rescue Department, the tanker was carrying alkaline base and odorless natrium hydroxide, but very toxic. Bomba has also set up a 100-meter perimeter radius for a decontamination process, as 2 leaking points were discovered on the overturned tanker. The cause of the accident is still being investigated.
Ayah, su artinya Nefi. Nefi.
Cik ku lalik nak jadi buat ya.
Oh, ada gas.
Yang penting gas ya.
Oh, yang penting gas.
Macam gas ya.
Cik, ambil yang mana lah. Aku mau viral ni.
Apa kau mau viral?
Siapa nak sobot ni sipek?
Apa makan ni pek?
Ai, show kan DBS ya. Setiap Isnin sampai Ahad, 2 suku petang.
Sawangan 1 2 2.
Tahu pun. Kenapa kau tanya aku?
Sultan Basyar Medical Center merupakan hospital patuh syariah pertama.
Ini merupakan satu cabaran untuk kami. 1 jurawat kadang-kadang menjaga sehingga 4 pesakit.
Rakyat perlu tahu yang mereka hanya perlu stay at home biar kami yang berhadapan dengan COVID.
Dan yang paling penting, jaga jarak melebihi 1 meter. Ingat, Bantras sampai tumpas, kita mesti menang.
Pastikan anda bersama kami Bantras COVID-19 setiap Isnin jam 9.45 malam hanya di TVS.
From our source, halal remain halal all the way to the table.
Empowering women through breathing.
With the Penang Women Project is 100%.
Yeah, pharmacy actually is very accessible.
For more brand insights from business leaders, you brand your product as Sarawak 3-layer milk tea.
If one day go listed,
what type of technology, the latest technology that you brought? Hello and welcome to Brand Pulse with me, Mariana, as your host for yet another exciting episode.
Hello there and welcome back. Now moving on, the easing of restrictions for individuals who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 will be decided at the National Recovery Council meeting next week. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the proposed relaxation would serve as a benefit or incentive for those who have completed the 2-dose vaccination.
Muhyiddin said the relaxation might include permission to go shopping or cross districts when a movement control order is in force. This would be in line with the opening of more economic sectors when states transition to Phase 2 of the National Recovery Plan or PPN, especially in the Klang Valley.
Now, on a related development, Muhyiddin said Pharmaniaga has completed its supply of 12.4 million doses of Sinovac vaccine order under the National COVID-19 Immunization Program. Its coordinating minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, on Friday said the program will now stop administering the Sinovac vaccine.
According to Khairi, Pharmaniaga Berhad had finished supplying 12 million doses of China's Sinovac vaccine to the government for the PIC earlier than the original schedule and has nothing to do with the vaccine's efficacy. In a statement, Pharmaniaga Berhad said that the supply of the Sinovac vaccine for the PIC had been completed, with the final batch to be supplied on July 21st. Pharmaniaga's contract to the government is to supply 12 million doses of the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine on a fill and finish basis over a period of 7 months between May and November 2021. Meanwhile, Khairi said the government has decided to use the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for the immunization program starting next month, while the Sinovac stockpile would be reserved for those who are allergic to other vaccines. To date, the government had received 6.66 million doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, including 1 million doses contributed by the United States government recently.
Today, July 17, marks the 7th anniversary of the downing of MH17, resulting in the tragic death of 298 passengers and crew members. The foreign minister of Australia, Belgium, Malaysia, the Netherlands and Ukraine, which formed a joint investigation team on the incident, issued a joint ministerial statement to mark the 7th anniversary of the tragedy.
The statement was made available today by the Malaysian Foreign Ministry. In it, they reiterated their deepest sympathies and condolences to the families and loved ones of the victims of the downing of flight MH17. They acknowledged the cooperation of their respective investigative agencies and reiterated their full support on the efforts to establish the truth of what happened. Sir also said they have full confidence in the independent, open, and impartial criminal proceedings against the alleged perpetrators. Meanwhile, Malaysia remains steadfast in its position to see all evidence related to the downing of MH17 over Ukraine made public and the judicial process be conducted fairly and not affected by any political pressure in order for justice to prevail. In a statement by Malaysia's Transport Ministry, MOT, today, Malaysia said it is always committed to giving full support to efforts to bring those responsible for the shooting down of MH17 to justice, and hope that the COVID-19 pandemic would not be an obstacle to the efforts to uphold justice for the victims. Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur went down over eastern Ukraine on July 17, 2014. It is believed that the Boeing 777 was hit by a surface-to-air missile supplied to pro-Russian rebels in eastern Ukraine.
Now wrapping up the 5 p.m. news, China's foreign ministry spokesperson on Friday said the lab leak theory of the origin of the coronavirus pandemic was extremely unlikely and pointed to frozen food as the possible cause of the pandemic.
今年3月，世卫组织正式公布了中国世卫组织联合溯源研究报告，得出包括实验室泄漏极不可能，在全球更广范围内继续寻找可能的早期病例，进一步了解冷链及冷冻食品在病毒传播过程中的作用等重要结论。这是一份科学和权威的报告，也是下阶段全球溯源工作的基础。
The origin of the pandemic has become a source of political tension between China and the United States, with much the recent focus on the Wuhan Institute of Virology, located in Wuhan, where the outbreak was first identified in late 2019. China has been criticized for its lack of transparency when it comes to disclosing data about early cases, as well as the viruses studied at the institute. The joint study published in March said COVID-19 most likely originated in the country's wildlife trade, with the virus passing into humans from bats via an intermediary species. But Beijing has promoted the theory that COVID-19 entered China from overseas via contaminated frozen food, while a number of foreign politicians in countries, including the US, have called for more investigations into the possibility it leaked from a laboratory.
And that concludes the 5 p.m. English news on TVS. As usual, don't forget to tune in for the Nightline at 11:30 p.m. with Cheryl Shamina. With that, I'm Handy Gui and have a pleasant day.